In this video, we're talking about aligning or syncing multiple cameras for editing inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. Hi guys, I'm Nathan from Ohio, and thank you for watching this crazy, amazing video. I have over 6 years experience in videography, editing, streaming, church tech, live sound, and lighting. I have also done some really cool things like 3D printing, Arduino, and networking. I have worked both as a paid staff member and as a volunteer for churches, conferences, and events. In this video, I hope to be helpful to you and your church as we navigate this world of video production and all that goes into it. So let me first explain that a multi-camera video shoot is when we record a show or an event or even a simple interview with multiple cameras, then we edit them all together to create the final video. So the first step to syncing our cameras is to learn how to do this manually. When I was in high school, I did this a lot. Every fall and spring, the theater would put on a show and I would video them as a multi-camera shoot. I usually had a little help with a big event like that, but I did the editing myself. Oh, and did I mention that the school didn't exactly have the greatest video cameras? We used Canon 60D DSLRs, and they had a tendency to stop recording randomly, even before hitting the 29-minute record limit. As I would go to edit, I would have 4 more camera sources, but because none of them recorded the entire length of the show, there were a lot of cuts that needed lined up. This is where mixer audio can come into play and be a huge blessing when you have it. Soundboard audio gives you something the length of the entire show to sync everything to. But before I learned to record that audio, I had to align the footage based on the camera's scratch audio. This can be tough. All I can say is that hopefully your projects produce much better footage than I had the ability to create when I first started in video. As we go through this video, if you want to download the example footage that I'm using, there's a link in the video description. I encourage you to practice along with me and leave any questions you have in the comments. For our first example, we are going to edit some footage that I shot at my church during the Corona quarantine season of 2020. As you can see, I'm inside of Premiere Pro. I have imported my footage and created a timeline. Now we're ready to begin. To start, I'm going to drag my first camera clip into the timeline. Now I'm going to open the mixed audio track in the preview monitor and find a good sync point. Usually a slate or clapper would be used to identify the camera's sync point, but we don't use that for this since our mixed audio would begin after the slap, and using music or vocals works just as well. So we're going to use the first word as the sync point. Once I select this same spot on the video clip, I can drag the audio from the preview window into the timeline. Now I can solo the mixed audio and it sounds perfect. And also looks like it's been synced correctly. Now I'm going to continue to do this for all the other cameras. Well, the process is complete and I want to stress how simple of an example this was. But I worked as fast as I could and it took me almost 5 minutes to completely sync this. That's pretty good, but not ideal. For laughs, I pulled up the project from 2014 when I was in high school when we did Shrek for the spring musical. You can see by looking at the clips how literally every camera was started and stopped several times through the show. I basically had to sync clips off of the previous clips. And to make it even worse, you can see the gaps in between the clips before the camera got restarted recording again. Fortunately, the world and tools have changed a lot since 2014. Now we don't have to wonder what year we finally get to die while syncing video clips to audio manually. Premiere Pro now has a built-in synchronization tool, which is great for simple stuff like this. I'm back inside of Premiere Pro, and this time I'm going to grab the video and audio clips and bring them all into the timeline on separate layers. Once this is done, we can select all the clips we want to sync. Right-click and select Synchronization. If the word is grayed out, it's because your clips are not all in the same layer. I'm going to select Audio and tell it to sync to track 1, where I have added the mixed audio from the recording. So the question now is, how long is this going to take to sync? In this case, it took just over 2 minutes to sync. This is definitely a good improvement from doing it manually and a simple yet effective solution. I really like to push the limits of these things, so let's see what we can do. Here is a folder from Christian Endeavor Mission Weeks from the summer of 2020. As you can see, on this day I visited 4 work sites. Each day I visit as many as possible. On each site I captured video, interviews, and B-roll of the students working on the service projects. I need the software to sync the audio from the handheld with the camera's audio so I can edit the interviews that have the good audio. I also need to keep the clips in linear order to keep me from having a shot of the students painting before the shot of them mixing the paint. I have to say, I was impressed with Premiere's attempt to sync the clips, but it's more work than my current solution, and I'm seeing a reoccurring theme of all the clips not syncing, as well as the linear timeline being broken. Additionally, it can only sync video based on a single audio source, so I have to repeat this process for each work site. For me, that's annoying, but if you stick around in just a minute, I'm going to give a solution for this problem. If this is a feature that you are going to need all of the time, or if you are needing to do this task very quickly with a lot of video clips, then you should consider making the investment in Plural Eyes by Red Giant. Plural Eyes can sync as many video or audio files as you give it in just a few minutes. It exports an XML file that can be imported into any video editor. It also has the option to color unsynced files and gives you the choice to move them to the end or keep them in linear order in between the successfully synced clips. Here I am importing loads of video clips from Mission Weeks into Plural Eyes. When I'm done, I'll hit sync, and after just a few minutes, it will finish with all the clips lined up. Now I can hit Export Timeline. Change the file name and destination as well as the export format for the editor you're using. I then select some options and finally export. Now we are ready to import the XML file into your editor. When I drag the XML file into the Premiere Pro project, it also brings the necessary files in with it. Here it is, and it only took 5 minutes to get everything together on one timeline, versus before when we sort of successfully synced clips across 4 timelines in 10 minutes with the Premiere Pro sync tool. Let's go back to the worship set we are editing. I'll drag the clips into Plural Eyes, drag the mixed music into Plural Eyes, and hit sync. I love watching Plural Eyes sync clips, and wow, that was fast. Okay, so the XML is inside of Premiere, and this footage is ready to edit. Using Plural Eyes, it took just under 1 minute to import, sync, export, and import everything into Premiere Pro where it creates the timeline for me. Before we continue, I want to tell you that you probably don't need to run out and purchase Plural Eyes. The sync tool in Premiere Pro works very well in most cases. In other cases, or if you aren't using Premiere, you can easily sync audio manually. To solve the problem of keeping clips in their linear order, you can add all of the footage to the timeline. In another timeline, use Premiere to sync the clips with the mic audio and then trim and replace those clips only with the one synced to the mic audio. If you're trying to create a screen like this, that is called a MultiView, and it is generated by a video switcher. A video switcher is a device that accepts multiple HDMI or SDI inputs and outputs a program feed. The MultiView is how you can monitor each camera input and make decisions as to which camera you want to send to the program output. Most switchers have options to cut or fade, or even sometimes use effects to transition between cameras. Usually the preview monitor is on the left and the program monitor is on the right, and below that are the first 8 camera inputs. I like to record the MultiView monitor when I'm directing so that afterwards I can see what was happening at different moments and use it to evaluate any mistakes we might have made during the broadcast. The last thing I want to talk about is that we can actually use a MultiView inside of Premiere Pro to edit our footage. I'm back inside Premiere Pro and the clips have all been synced using one of the methods we just discussed. The first thing we need to do is select all of the clips, right-click, and nest these clips. Then we can right-click again, select Multicam, then Enable. Make sure to right-click on your window and select Display Mode, then MultiView. Now we can watch each camera and switch between them as we edit. All changes will be made and edited here in the timeline. Well, that's it for this video. My goal is always to help churches and individuals learn tips and techniques to gain knowledge as video producers and directors as we navigate this world of streaming, tech, and production. Please go ahead and like this video. Also subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'd love for you to tell me about your church tech setup and let me know any help or recommendations I can make for it. Well, I'll see you guys next time.